You're listening to eBizRadio.com, the place to go if you want to know about the world of business and the business of the world. I'm Nick von Stein, and joining us today on this edition of eBiz Technology is Juan Swartz, the CEO of RiskFlow Intellectual Property Investments. We are chatting your CF40I and B app. One is for personal use and one is for professional use. So before we talk about the app, let's talk about RiskFlow. What do you guys do in the marketplace?
So RiskFlow has been around for the last 28 years, specializing specifically on software solutions in the banking industry and solving complex problems or algorithms, specifically in risk management and asset and liability management space. And obviously recently, as you noted, we've migrated away from the traditional business in just doing banking simulation programs and systems to applications that's available to individuals and small businesses.
And that's where we bring up this new app of yours. So we understand that one is for personal use and one is for business use. Now, what is this app?
So essentially the app is a financial planning tool which individuals, as you say, as well as businesses can use in order to plan their cash flow as well as their financial interests with a forward look as opposed to traditional accounting software which look at historical data.
Okay, so you have now. One of the main things that this brings up is financial literacy. Now, we've spoken about it quite a few times here at eBiz Radio, is financial literacy levels in this country are very, very low due to the past, due to lack of education. There are a number of reasons. So does that help? Does this app help a lot with that?
Yeah, I would say that's one of the primary outcomes or benefits of this app is in order to improve financial literacy. And when we think of financial literacy, we potentially might think about individuals that struggle to manage daily financial decisions or cash flow management. But it's not just suitable for them. It's also suitable for individuals that are very successful businessmen, entrepreneurs, or employees that want to make potentially more complex financial decisions. That you want to get a bit more information around and also want to understand how you balance the different decisions that you make on a daily basis. So the nice thing about the app is that it allows you to firstly try to incorporate very simple examples. So if you are an individual that has a fixed job and you might be doing some physical labor or even entry-level type jobs, and you just want to manage your personal spending on a monthly basis, that can assist you with that. But it can also assist entrepreneurs that have started up their own businesses or individuals that's very affluent that wants to sort of evaluate buying different investments or investing their money in different things. As opposed to buying different assets, etc., etc.
One of the things I liked most is it allowed you to monitor your spending. So, for instance, take myself for an example. I'm a bit of a chocoholic. I love chocolate. I'll eat chocolate anytime, anywhere. In fact, one of the ways that people know if I'm sick is I don't eat chocolate. That's how much I like it. But then at the end of the year, you think, how much money have I actually spent on chocolate? And then you can map that out over the long term and you can actually see, well, perhaps I shouldn't be spending so much money on chocolate or whatever your particular vice in life is. I mean, everyone has something, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. It allows you to sort of answer what-if questions. So what if you took the spending that you spent on chocolates and you invested that into a unit trust or invested that into a vehicle where you currently are using public transport, etc., or just put it on a money market account and some interest. We are all encountered by those type of decisions on a monthly basis. Some of us has to make rent versus buy decisions are a very common one. Whether you have a business, do I have to buy an office space, or should I rent it? Should we buy vehicles, or should we rent it? Should I use public transport, or should I purchase a second-hand vehicle? All of those decisions are relatively complex to make because there's different things that you consider. And simplistically, people might look at an ad in the newspaper or television that shows you can buy a car for just a couple of $100 a month, but you forget about the fact that you have to pay that off over 5 years. There might be a settlement payment at the end that you don't consider and you might not have cash flow for. You forget about the insurance that you have to pay, you forget about the fuel. And if you evaluate that option versus, let's say, for instance, using public transport or keeping your second-hand car that you currently have, those are decisions that you have to make a couple of sums or calculate a couple of numbers before you can make the decision. And if you make a lot of those decisions, then certainly using an app for it is very valuable. And also the last thing I can mention is these type of decisions you don't make in isolation. You don't make in isolation decisions about your transport. You have to then consider the rest of your budget and how do you make money available, like in your instance, potentially eating less chocolate.
Yes, I would go put my chocolate money into Nestle unit trusts. Now, I want to know, what is the difference between the business app and the personal app? Because, I mean, obviously it's right there in the name, the one's for business, the one's for personal. But I assume that there's a bit more work that goes into the business side app because obviously it is for businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a business, even a small business, there's a couple of things you need to consider. So you potentially have employees that you need to pay. And you have to cater for their salary, and that's a big responsibility to make sure you have a cash flow, so that you can pay your salaries, whether it's 24th or the 27th, or whatever case might be. You also have to make sure you've got cash flow available to pay your pay as you earn, and other employee taxes, as well as your VAT, and that could be on a monthly basis or every second month. And especially in small businesses where that VAT payment is every second month, it might be a big amount. And if you don't save over 2 months in terms of cash flow, you might not have it available and be sort of have to pay interest and penalties on it. So it incorporates all of those elements that on an individual basis you wouldn't necessarily need.
I was looking at the app over the weekend, and one of the things I really like is you can constantly change the inputs that obviously change the outputs, and the parameters can be tweaked according to each person or each business's personal profile and personal needs and personal expenses. So what do you think is the main goal of these said apps? Is it about financial literacy? Is it about ease of access? Is it about putting the technology into a new marketplace, into a new space?
Yeah, I think that the key factor for most individuals and small businesses and even large businesses is being able to manage your cash flows. So everyone's heard the saying about cash is king, and it's really true in the business world as well as your personal life. So the key is being able to manage that cash flow. And this is what this app allows you to do. So if I can take, for instance, a scenario where you have, where you want to purchase a certain asset or instrument for your business, or for your personal use, you can ask the question around whether it's worthwhile paying that off and buying that over credit. And from a monthly basis, it's much easier to manage that cash flow. But at the end of the day, you'll pay a lot of interest on it. So from an income statement perspective and profitability perspective, that would look worse. But from a cash flow perspective, that might be more manageable, as opposed to saving up a couple of months and then purchasing the asset, whether that is furniture or fittings or whatever case might be. Those type of decisions is very, very important decisions for any business and individual to make. And this enables you to do that. It also enables you to plan for potential future events. So, for instance, we know that the financial crisis back in 2008 had a lot to do with people not being able to manage their cash flow and entered into loans which they couldn't service if the interest rate were to go up. And we've seen the interest rate go up in South Africa recently. And that means that's extra cash out of your pocket on a monthly basis. So you have to be able to play around with those different scenarios and see what it does to your business or your personal circumstances should interest rate increase by 2% in the next 12 months, or should your prices of your products reduce by X percentage because of some market conditions, etc., etc.
Yeah, many people, when they start businesses, they think, okay, these are my fixed costs every month, but then they don't realize the fluctuating nature of economics. There's your interest rate that changes, there's your oil price that changes, your electricity prices are changing, taxes change, the environment that you're operating in changes. Like, for instance, all of a sudden your company becomes the rage due to some new product you put out, and then 6 months later you're dead in the water. Take BlackBerry, for instance. They were once the kings and queens of mobile smartphones when the technology first started, and nowadays they're almost on the verge of bankruptcy.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a huge amount of businesses in South Africa and around the world, especially smallish type of businesses that are exposed to one or two or three major clients. And this really allows you to answer that what if question. So what if you would lose one of your major? Does that mean you have to close shop? Or do you have enough variable costs that you can take costs out of a business and then survive for a while until you got another client?
Runs on a subscription model basis. So can you just explain that? How people pay for the app? Yeah,
so the easiest way, you can go to our website. There's a couple of ways to pay for it. You can buy a voucher. You can pay by PayPal, and it is a license fee basis. Like you said, you can pay it on a monthly license basis or annual license fee, and then just download the app to your device.
Am I correct? It's for tablets and smartphones, especially.
Yeah, so the app, you can use it on any device. So it is web-based. So you should be able to use it on any smartphone, your computer, tablets, etc.
Now, before I let you go, I just want to know, how do we get the app? Where do you find it? Is it on your website? Is it in the Google Play Store? How do we access it?
Yeah, if you want to find out more about it, you can visit our website on www.riskflow.com or www.riskflow.co.za. Either way, you can also contact us on 011 704 0648 if you want to find out more about it. You'll see on our website, on our homepage, is very clearly marked with two apps. There's icons for it, and you can click on it and then just follow the process from there.
Sean, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.